I think some of my best memories probably came from like wrestling, because I was a state champion. Just a lot of that, just because a lot of that probably was with my dad. Me and him have a pretty tight bond, and he was a wrestler. He was a big wrestler growing up, so then we like connected on that. He was always by my side, like he was always in my corner. He was always my coached me through everything, taught me everything I know about it, about the sport, about growing up, what I needed to do different. Basically made me who I am because of that, like the hard work in wrestling. I like took that with me, you know what I mean?
Another episode of Adversity Kings. I'm ripping a breakfast real quick. So we got our special guest, Trea, and we got back-to-back podcasts today. But start off with, I want to know where your parents are from, born and raised, and then where you were born. And then I'm going to hopefully be done.
I'd say my parents were born and raised in Wyoming, small town, Green River, Rock Springs area. Not very big, not many people. Everybody knows everybody's business and everything. And then I was born there as well.
What nationality are they?
Just white American. I mean, it's just a tiny town. Like I said, everybody knows everybody's business. There's nothing new that goes on there. I refuse to go visit because it's just, the way I like to explain it is it's the same people talking about the same things, doing the same things. Nobody ever graduates, I guess you could say, from the small town. Like, it's always been a small town vibe. My grandparents are from there. Everybody's from there. My grandparents actually just moved back there from Nevada, back to Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And that's where we were all from. And then my entire life growing up, I'd moved. Before my senior year, I'd moved 28 times.
Why?
My parents just wake up one day and they're like, hey, let's go back. It was just a lot of back and forth. So I lived in Lander, Wyoming, Green River, Wyoming, Rock Springs, Wyoming, and then Grand Junction, Colorado. Then I lived in College Station, Texas once. And my entire life, it was just always back and forth from Wyoming to Colorado, Wyoming to Colorado. So I guess I was never really the new kid. It was just like, oh, you're back again. And then, like I said, College Station, Texas once, and I wasn't there for very long.
Was that for his work or why?
No, it was, they literally just woke up. The Texas one, I'd say, was for work. But other than that, everything was just more of like a, hey, we're just going back. We're going back. Because I had family in Wyoming. And, like, I think that was a big issue because my dad's parents were there still. My mom's parents were there still. My dad's sister was there. Everybody was in Wyoming. And then we would venture out, go to Colorado, and then we'd end up back to Wyoming every time. It was just like a circle. And then when I graduated, well, my senior year, so like I said, I moved back to Colorado my senior year of high school. Ended up going back to Colorado, finished my high school year, wrestled there, and then I ended up, I had a bunch of friends that were like, hey, man, like, Utah's sick. So I was going back and forth from Utah, hanging out, meeting a bunch of people out there. So then finally I ended up, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to move out there. And so then I moved to Utah and traveled a lot from Utah, ventured out. My family never traveled. Like, I was very locked in, you know what I mean? So we never really did that. And so, like, I was the one that I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to beat the Matrix. I'm like my family. So, like, I ventured out because I have, like, a oil field class family. Everybody in my family's been in, like, the oil field, the mines, just hardworking, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I went down a completely different route and ended up in the sales industry. And that took me, I guess you could say, all over the country.
So, but before you jump into that, what was like the worst part of your childhood? Like, what was your worst memory growing up? Hardest adversity, worst memory?
Growing up, I guess you could say just that my dad was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
So he was only technically there for half my life.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see him every day. Like, he's never, like, come home. He was always in the oil field. It was always 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on. Growing up, I didn't really go through anything crazy until I moved out. And that's when I did all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I hurt myself a lot.
Yeah. So, like, what was the hardest thing you've been through?
I'd say the hardest thing would be when I got in an accident. I rolled a side-by-side, the ATV.
Yeah.
I rolled one of those. Well, my best friend did it, and I ended up getting stuck underneath it, and I cut my radial nerve, my main artery, and my tricep muscle off the bone. Ended up, we were about an hour away from the hospital. I was visiting Wyoming when this happened, so my parents weren't there, nobody was there, and it was just all of us. Simple mistake. It was literally just a wrong turn. Got too close to the lake, hit like some soft sand or something, and it just tipped. Well, I went to catch myself, and I got stuck underneath it. And like I said, I cut my main artery, my tricep muscle off the bone, and my radial nerve. So then we were all out at the lake, so everybody's panicking, like in the heat of the moment, like your buddy's bleeding out, you know? So then they put me in the truck, and we hauled ass all the way to the hospital, and it's a small town hospital. Like I said, we're in Wyoming still, Rock Springs, Wyoming. Small town, and so we get there, and they're like, we have to put you on a life flight, or else, like, it's not going to be good. So then they put me on a plane, flew me to...
A plane?
Yeah, they had to put me on a plane.
Wasn't a helicopter?
I mean, I can't remember. As far as I know, it was a plane.
Okay.
It was a pretty serious situation. So then put me on there, flew me to Utah, and by this time COVID's big. So like I think I was 19, and they wouldn't let my parents in there. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, dude. Like, I don't know my health insurance. I don't know what kind of stuff I got going on. So then they wouldn't let me talk to anybody. So that's when it was like a big situation. Like, I didn't have a cell phone. I'd left it in the Razor. Like, it was all just quick stuff going on. So then I ended up in Utah without my parents. Didn't know what I was doing. Finally, I got like a nurse, gave me his phone. Ended up, they kind of mistreated me there at the University of Utah quite a bit. So then I got a cool nurse, like I said, gave me his phone, let me use his phone. So then I ended up talking to my mom, and I was like, look, like, I need out of here. Like, this ain't good.
Yeah.
So they ended up stitching it up, and it was, like, not good. Like, it was still bleeding, still cut open, messed up bad. So then, like, I was in, like, a cast, never got feeling in my arm, and it was, like, a big situation. So I was, like, in this, like, weird cast thing. So we went back to Utah for, like, a checkup, and the doctor, like, looked at my arm and just, like, 2 seconds, looked at it, and was just like, oh, you're good, man. You're good to go. So my mom, like, freaked out and was like, no, like, we're leaving. Drove back to Colorado. Ended up finding a new doctor out there. The doctor ended up, he was like, look, man, like, you're over the age of 18. Surgery's up to you. He's like, from what you're telling me, he's like, I got to open it up. He's like, I want to. But he's like, surgery is up to you. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it, dude. Ends up cutting it open, and surgery was supposed to be like 30, 45 minutes long, nothing crazy. Ended up being 4.5 hours long.
Why?
Doctor found rocks in my arm. Like, he found, like, rocks off the ground in my arm still.
He didn't find rocks in your arm.
Crazy, huh?
That's disgusting.
So he found rocks, and he found that they never put the radial nerve back together, and that's, like, a big feeling nerve.
Yeah.
So I ended up, I don't, like, really have any feeling in my right arm anymore. And, like, I don't ever come back.
I always wonder, I was like, you seem like you move it pretty good. So
I can move it. Like, I have full range of motion, all that. I just don't feel. Like, you could walk up, like, if somebody walks up behind me and, like, touches, like, the back of my arm, like, I'm, like, completely oblivious to it. Like,
so you don't feel nothing in there?
Yeah. That was probably the biggest thing I've been through.
What was the, I guess in a sense, what was your best memory growing up?
I don't even know. I think some of my best memories probably came from, like, wrestling, because I was a state champion. Just a lot of that, just because a lot of that probably was with my dad. Me and him have a pretty tight bond. I mean, we grew up, like, shooting, wrestling. He was a wrestler. He was a big wrestler growing up. So then we, like, connected on that. I think that just being close to him. And then I think that was probably the biggest thing, really, because then we had trucks to bond over. We built trucks, guns, wrestling, basically anything and everything we could do, we did together. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, what was, like, the funnest hunt or wrestling experience with your dad?
I'd say hunting, for sure, just because...
Was there one in particular?
Not really one in particular. I mean, I'd say it's a hard decision, because wrestling, like, he was always by my side. Like, he was always in my corner. He was always my coach, coached me through everything, taught me everything I know about it, about the sport, about growing up, what I needed to do different. Basically made me who I am because of that. Like, the hard work in wrestling, I, like, took that with me. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like a...
How long did you wrestle?
My entire life, I probably took off total of 5 years, if that.
Yeah, so Did you go to states or?
I won state.
Oh, you were a state champion wrestler?
Yeah,
What weight?
little.
Oh shit!
It was like right before high school.
Okay.
So that was like when I ended up winning. There was a bunch of stud wrestlers in Wyoming. All of them were studs. I ended up winning state in Wyoming, and then my freshman, sophomore, junior year, I didn't even weigh 106 pounds. That's the lowest weight. I came into high school weighing 76 pounds.
Yeah.
Wrestling 106. And then from there, it was just like, I didn't really see a point in wrestling that much weight up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was tiny, by 20, 30 pounds by everybody, and 106 even. So then that happened my freshman year, and then I was just it's just not worth it for me to wrestle,
Yeah.
Ended up, I was done with it, and then I was I'm going to take this year off. And then my sophomore year, I came back, and I believe that was the year that I hurt my shoulder. So then came into it, in practice, we were warming up, and we used to do, all sorts of, gymnastic shit, run, jump over mats, flips, all kind of wrestling stuff, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Getting warmed up. Well, I ended up running, and I went to jump over a mat, and my shoe caught, and I ended up, I was, flying through the air, and I landed on my shoulder, and I messed it up. I, popped it out of place, tore the ligaments out, all sorts of different things. It was pretty...
And that was your senior year?
I think that was my sophomore year, I believe.
Sophomore?
Yeah.
And so you didn't wrestle after that?
And I didn't wrestle. And then my senior year, I moved to Colorado, wrestled there. Ended up, I was pretty solid up in Colorado. I didn't end up winning state that year, but I made it to state, so went through regionals, went through all of that. And then when I got to state, I was so dead. I was cutting so much weight because I was wrestling 113 pounds. I was probably walking around weight was 130, 135, 140, right around there. And I was cutting so much weight that when I got to state, I was just drained, just miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was you know what, I'm done. I'm after this, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
So that's when I was you know what, I thought hard about going into the oil field or something like that, but I knew that I didn't want to do something like that.
And then that's when you moved to Utah?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so you had the accident. What happened after the accident?
After the accident, I was messed up pretty bad for a while. And so then I moved to Utah. I ended up coming out with a settlement of money. Ended up going to Utah, and then from there, that's I had my fun in Utah, did my thing, met a bunch of cool people, and then I ended up starting over the phone sales. I was working at selling health supplements over the phone. Loved that, was making good money. And then
What'd your parents think of that?
They supported that. They didn't not support it until I went completely commission. Because I was making, $14.75 an hour plus commissions. So nothing crazy, but I was basically one of the highest paid employees that wasn't a manager. They wouldn't promote me to a manager.
Yeah.
So by that time I was you know what, I'm done. Found out about door-to-door sales.
Yeah.
And so that's when my parents were oh, this is crazy. You're not doing this.
Yeah.
Because I found out about it, went to a meeting, talked to him, and I was yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm just here because I drive a cool car, it's a recruiting thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ended up, I was you know what? No, I'm doing it. So then I went back, went to a couple more meetings, and then within a matter of 3 weeks, I was you know what, I'm doing it. I'm going all in.
Yeah.
So then I packed up my whole apartment, everything, walked into that place, and I was going to put my 2 weeks in, and then the day that I went in there to put my 2 weeks in, my manager for door-to-door called me. He's hey, bro, where you at? Because they were all leaving to Texas. And I was he's where you at? And I was what do you mean, dude? I'm not leaving right now. I'm not leaving right now. And he's no, we're leaving right now, bro. Come on. And so then I just dropped off my access card, my key card to get in the office, dropped it off, drove to Texas that day, went all in right then and there.
And so how long did you do door-to-door sales?
About
and did your parents disown you for a day?
They didn't disown me. I've always been if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean? I don't. No matter who you are, you're not gonna tell me that I'm not gonna do it, because then I'm gonna do it even better. You know?
Yeah.
So then
you're not gonna write $10 million next year.
No, yes I will. So then they didn't like the fact that I was strictly commissioned. They didn't like that I just packed everything, but they still supported it. They were just supported it from a distance. You know what I mean? So then I was out there for a while, and then I was you know what, I'm out. I'm done. Ended up, my manager broke my ankle, Like he messed up my ankle.
He ran over, right?
No, we were wrestling and he tossed me.
Oh,
and
you deserved it, then.
Nah, dude, it was pretty crazy. We were at a water park and he just landed wrong, and like in the video, like you can hear it, and it just like pops. It's pretty gross. And then I went home, went back to over the phone, because they basically told me everything I wanted to hear. They were like, look, like we'll give you this manager spot, all this, all that, you know, everything you want to hear as a salesman, you know. So then I was like, all right, I'll be back, but I'm not going back through the training. Like I don't need it. I was a top dog. Like I'll come back if I'm going to be the next sales manager. I'm like, yeah, okay, get there. Sales manager spot opens up, I don't get it. So then I was just like, what do you mean? Like I just jumped right back into it. Everything was still like fresh on my mind. This was like about a month and a half, 2 months that I was out in Texas before he broke my ankle and I came home. So then after that, that's when I went back and they didn't give me the manager spot. So then I was there for like another maybe 3 months, because then I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to stay here, build up my money again, and then I'm going back out. So then I'm back there. Everything's going, and I'm like, you know what, like if they're not going to promote me, I'm not staying here again. So then I ended up quitting. I left again, and then I went back to Texas. Booked a flight out, flew back to Texas, and I was like, man, like, let's kill it this time. Ended up, I was out there for her. I flew out there. No, I went to Fresno, California. I worked in Fresno, California for a little bit.
And you were selling solar?
Yeah, that's when solar was hitting. And then I came home again, and then it was just like connecting flights. Like I went from California plane to Texas. I ended up going back out to Texas, and I hated it. I hated Texas. Texas, to me, it's just not my state. I just don't have good luck there. So then came back home again, took a little break, and then he called me, and he was like, hey, like, this is what we're doing. Like, are you on board? And I was like, you know what, let's do it. Went, worked with him again. Flew from Utah back out to Texas again, met a bunch of cool guys for the old door-to-door security company that I work for, met a bunch of the top guys like the owner and whatnot.
When are they coming here?
Soon. And so then ended up that all happened, and I was just like, you know, ended up killing it right off the jump. Straight into it. It was like, no, I want to say it was like roughly November, because Justin Masca started hitting me up, because I seen them, like, they're in the recruiting industry. I was like, oh, watch this, mine's better. I'm gonna end up bringing them. Ended up going opposite directions, obviously, but then they just stayed in contact between you, Rob, Justin. Like, I heard from somebody every month for the past, like, 11 months. So I was like, man, this shit must be legit. Like, they're really on it. So then finally ended up door-to-door was taking off, and then I was like, I almost felt, in a sense, I felt like capped out, you know? Like, sales are never capped out, but as far as, like, growth goes, I felt like I was, like, kind of, there was not much more growing to do. So then I ended up, I let them talk me into it, so I bit the bullet, came out here. And the only thing I think I wish I started sooner. Yeah. That's about it.
So how long you been out here?
Since June. End of June, early July is like,
so you're like
in my process.
5 months in?
Yeah.
About 5 months in?
Mm-hmm.
And so over these last 5 months, how much have you made roughly?
I'd say probably 30 or 40,000.
So not bad. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like you're a millionaire.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But
it's like,
I'm still in such a learning process. Like, the way I look at it is like, we're in such a growing stage that it's just,
sky's the limit.
That's exactly right. When I came out here, because I was making solid money in door to door.
Yeah.
When I came out here, I knew I was going to take a short-term pay cut.
Yeah.
But the way I looked at it is a short-term pay cut for a forever gain. There's going to come a time that I'm not in the field. And door to door, they were always in the field. There was like, that's what I meant by like capped out.
The passive income. You've got a team.
Yes.
Traveling, running your team from all over the country, and they can do the same.
Yes, exactly. So, like, everything hit me, and I was like, dude, you know what? It's worth it. I'll take the short-term pay cut because in the long run, it'll all pay off tenfold. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And now it's just all about, like, keeping it simple. Listen to the basics, like following the playbook, listening to that, and actually implementing the things that are being taught. And, like I said, like, duplicating, multiplying, and just growing our business as far as that goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's huge.
So, I remember it was... So it started in 2017. I was here for 3 months. 2018 was my first full year, so I was 15 months into writing business. I think I got promoted to an SA, never kept anybody. 2019, I think, would have been when I got Sam first, around probably March, and then John or Rob probably started in June, and we were number one SA that year. So that would have been 2 years, 3 months before I became an MGA. You know what I mean? So essentially the highest level, position of leadership prior to an owner in our company. And you're there in 5 months. You know what I mean? Now we're doing things on a smaller scale, but to even secure that position, to have an alignment with an organization and team and put yourself in a position where it's like same opportunity, same company, and you can do the same thing. For you to be, 19 months ahead of me is crazy, because they definitely, between Simon and myself, it's like the trajectory, aligns with, I'm up there, you know what I mean, with one of the with some of the greats. So just to see how quickly you guys are taking this is definitely encouraging and exciting, because sky's the limit. You know what I mean? It truly is.
100%.
It truly is. So what was the hardest thing for you overall for the last 5 months? What's been the hardest thing for you?
I think my biggest problem is diving in on the product, more product knowledge, being able to produce more AOP, because I came from recruiting industry. I've been recruiting for quite a while now. So I feel like I have that pretty locked in, especially following the things that you say as far as recruiting goes, implementing what you say. But I'd say the ALP aspect, the producing, the consistent results, because I've had some pretty big months already. But at the same time, I don't want that to ever die out. You know what I mean? I've consistently done decent, but I want to consistently do the best. I want to be the best.
Yes.
It's just a matter of time before we're
that's the biggest.
there.
That's the biggest component, and people eliminate that, or they minimize it, and they shrink it down and don't give themselves enough time to allow time to play out and do what it does best. If you are patiently focused in one area, like I had you guys listen to this morning, it's essentially the only risk you would be exposed to is death.
Right.
The odds of you becoming successful are 100% in comparison to the only other thing that could potentially stop that would be you dying. If you're focused and you're patient, I don't care if you're selling jellyfish in Alaska. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to be successful. Lock in, become the best jellyfish salesman in that niche, in that industry, and find a way to scale across your demographic, across the whole world, whatever it is. Find a way to market and grow and make that one individual thing the best it can be.
You're exactly right.
And so it's so good you said that.
I think that's a big deal to me, is just being patient, because in my life, I've never been patient for anything. So in a way, it's hard for me. You know what I mean? Because everything I've ever wanted, I'm I'll go get it right now.
Yes.
Regardless of what it is, if I want to move up in a company, I'll do whatever it takes to get there.
I'll do what it takes. Yep.
Yes. I've made it to like you said, one of the highest spots of leadership already. I'll go to the ends of the earth to get there. Here, it's hard for me to comprehend that yes, over time results are going to come. I can't in a way force everything. You know what I mean? I can't just I'm going to do it right now. It's okay, I have to have that 5-year plan, that 2-year plan.
Yes.
I have to have that vision of how I'm going to do it, how it's going to break out, the calls, the results that I want, and everything. You know what I mean?
Yes. So, with having everything mapped out with your vision, where do you see yourself long term? What do you want to do? Where you want to drive? Where you want to be?
I really struggle with where I want to be, because I've been all over. I don't really have a set in stone
Maybe
place.
around certain people opposed to a certain place. Sometimes home, I'd say all the time home for me feels more around you guys, around my culture.
See, that's
where you guys are. That's where I want to be personally.
That's how I feel.
For the foreseeable future.
I feel that to an extent, because as far as it goes for I'm really close with my mom, my dad, my dad's mom, so my grandma. Really close with them, call them all the time, dang near every day. But at the same time, I've been technically on my own, living on my own, I guess I should say, because they've been by my side and supported me, since I was about 18 years old.
Yeah.
So, I've never had to worry about anything. I've made it work every time without them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, as far as it goes for like being around people, I'd say being around you guys. Like I feel the exact same. Like being around Justin, you, Rob, all the people that have helped me get to where I've needed to go, where I want to be, and explained it is my biggest thing. Like I feel the same. It's like you guys are my family now. You know what I mean? Like if I was in a situation, like I know who I'd call.
Yes.
It'd be you, Tristan, or Rob, Justin.
Yeah.
Like you that people for me now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm going through a rough spot in life,
Yep.
it's gonna be you guys now. Like I just look at it like I'm evolving into like being around that culture. You know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
So what about long term? Where do you want to drive?
I've always had a dream of a Lamborghini before I was 25.
Yeah.
I'm about to be 22.
Yes.
So I still got 3 years.
Yes, you do.
So I mean, if the numbers play out, I should have one in the next like year and a half, 2 years.
Yes.
By my vision and like where I want to be with all of that, I'd say that's like my dream is a Lamborghini in the next by the time I'm 25.
We're gonna kill that.
Yes.
We're gonna kill that. So what about? Are you a big house guy or more of like a apartment penthouse guy? You want land.
Dude, I go back and forth because like I've been everything you could imagine.
Yeah.
I've been in the city, I've been in the country. I mean, I've been a cowboy, I rode bulls, I've hunted, I've been in the city, like I've done it all. So like I want a couple properties. I'd say I want one like up in Jackson, like mountains near that stuff, Jackson, Wyoming. I want something up there, I'd say, in the future, and then really it just depends on how far I want to take the industry, you know what I mean? Like if I ever get to the SGA point, if I ever get to that point, I guess a lot of my life, and as crazy as it sounds, I play it by day. Like I'm not a planner. I don't plan stuff usually. I just know that like I just give it your all every single day, you know what I mean? Like that way, if it's going to work out, it's going to work out. If not, then it's not meant to be. I'm big in like, if it's going to happen, it's meant to be, right?
Yeah.
So it really just, I don't know how to answer that because don't get me wrong, being in a penthouse in Chicago would be sick. Like, but also being on a ranch with like all this land where like if I want to go outside and shoot a gun, I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I go super back and
forth. You can do that in Chicago.
Yeah.
Everybody does that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've heard.
So, okay, well, what about maybe some things outside of work? Like what could you do forever if it wasn't work? What would you do forever?
I'm so addicted to the working aspect and being successful that I like can't even fathom.
There's not a second thing you love, movies, shows, food.
I mean, so
skiing.
I could just got my apartment out here. I have no furniture. I don't have a TV. I don't ski. I snowboard occasionally, but like, it's not something I could do. I don't play video games.
Yes, you do.
Nope.
I know. Gamble.
You play.
That'd be what you
gambling.
Do. Yeah.
I was a pretty solid gambler.
Yeah, you and Rob.
I love it, dude. But like I love the chase.
Whatever it is.
I love the chase of it. I love the high paced. We're going. You know what I mean? It's not like it's fast. I like high paced things. I always like to keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have a favorite movie?
Yeah, I'd probably say like The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is. That is one of my favorites. I mean, it always has been, you know?
Do you have a favorite show?
I mean, you can't really make fun of me for this, but it's like definitely Vampire Diaries.
Go ahead and shut this shit off.
Dude, vampire. Like, I have a weird thing with vampires.
So, you like Twilight?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
You tell me you don't like vampires, dude?
Well, what's your favorite vampire movie?
I really like, dude, Twilight. Twilight's good, or The Lost Boys. You ever heard of that?
I don't know. Have you seen Blade, like a real man's vampire movie?
That's pretty crazy. That's a crazy movie. But
I would say that. What, Aiden? Would you say those are the best vampire movies? Blade.
I haven't seen Blade. I've seen The Lost Boys.
What the?
Lost Boys is good, huh?
Yeah.
That is an iconic movie. Have you ever seen that one?
How old is it?
It's old. It's like probably, would you say 90s or 70s?
I think so. Yeah, like 80s.
Yeah, it's right around there.
Oh,
It's an old one, but it is solid.
I'm for sure not watching it.
It is. I'm not an old movie guy at all, but dude, like you gotta watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. What? So I'm trying to think what other vampire movies. 30 Days a Night. That one was decent.
I keep it simple, dude. I'm
trying to think. There's one that just recently came out on Netflix that was pretty good. A vampire movie.
I don't even know, dude. That's pretty crazy.
It was fire. It was definitely better.
You watched it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're a vampire guy too?
Yeah, I mean, I like action movies.
Yeah.
Usually they're action. It's
They
not.
always
you know what
are.
I mean? It's not like
The last Twilight is definitely like,
that one was solid with all the battle.
yes.
Yeah, that one was
That
solid.
was sick, dude.
Yeah, that was sick.
That
That
was
was
pretty
sick.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So do you ever like keep a pair of fangs in and like hiss
Yeah,
at
dude.
people?
You don't? I know you do, actually. Come
No.
on now.
I know you do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
This guy.
I'm such like I have like an addictive personality, I'd say, but
Yeah.
like to an extent. It just like with hobbies, like I
Mhm.
jump hobbies quite a bit. Like growing up, it was like wrestling. Like I went all in on wrestling, and
Yeah.
then like airsoft guns growing up, and then like paintball, and then vehicles, and like I just gradually get into like
Yeah.
more expensive hobbies as I've grown up, and now it's like I hit the point where it's just work, and I'm just like so addicted, and like
Yeah.
I don't focus on anything else. Which I mean, I agree with you. I don't think burnout's a thing. Like.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. I think you should have a 20, 30 year run of just
Yes.
extreme focus, and I think a man should try his best to become a billionaire.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I think every human. I don't want to just say just a man, but I
Right.
feel like it should be deeply rooted in a man to go out there and go get $1 billion to the best of your ability within moral code.
Right.
You know? So I firmly believe in that.
Yes.
You know?
I mean, I've grown up with that too. So
Yeah.
I mean, like, my mom never like she worked a couple times, but like my whole life, it's always just been my dad. So like
Yeah.
I grew up with that like culture of
Yeah, the
like
traditional household.
go work for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you want it, go work for it.
Yeah.
And I mean, my dad's always done it. He's always made everything work. Anything I've ever wanted growing up,
Mhm.
parents made it happen, no matter what it took. Like I was always taken
Yeah.
care of very well. You know.
That's good. That's good. So, well, I guess more so than how would you explain me being able to shoot a bow better than you?
That'll never happen.
Well, I mean, with it actually being true. So
It'll never happen.
letting everybody know, like, is it just I just shoot better than you?
It could never happen.
You got to watch the show Meat Eater with Steven Ranella.
Meat Eater?
Yeah, such a good show.
I think I've watched it. Is it hunting? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah.
I've seen that.
It's a fire show.
See, dude, I don't watch shows. I don't watch TV.
Meat Eater is not really a show. It's hunting. And you
Is
need
it
to
on
get
TV?
you need to get
Is it
better.
on TV?
No, it's on a computer. And you need to get better at your hunting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't. Like, how do I hunt? How have I hunted way less than you and still shoot a bow better than
That
you?
could never happen. It just.
You don't even know how to field dress a deer.
I field dressed an antelope with a can of Copenhagen.
with a toothbrush.
With a can of Copenhagen, the little lid, and a box cutter. That's an other story.
Well,
I literally did it with a box cutter.
well, how do you explain Brandon being able to drive better than you?
Brandon's not beat me in one aspect of anything.
Oh, geez, Brandon's gonna go nuts if he listens this far. What about favorite food? Do you like food?
I mean, like I like steak quite a bit.
You like dessert?
You put, coming out here and being around you, it put me on like a
Don't
whole
say
nother
being
food.
around you, dude.
Dude, it's bad.
Don't say being around you. I've never had dessert, guys.
Yeah.
One thing I don't do is cheat meals.
Yep. Never. But like, never was like a dessert guy until I came out here.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened, what changed, but it like all picked up. And now like, when I go out to eat, like I'm getting dessert.
Yeah.
I'm not getting it now. Like,
Yeah.
Especially after watching like Alex Hormozy, like all that.
Oh my God, that dude! I don't know how much trend he takes, but I mean, he could just eat dessert every day and be cool. And I'm like,
yes,
holy shit, that's annoying.
yes. And I was never a sweets guy at all until I came out here. But like I obviously like steak, gonna be like favorite. You know, like I like sushi quite a bit. I'm like weird. Like I'm plain, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I don't eat much. I don't have like anything crazy going on right now. Like I just work for it, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause
What's your who's your favorite wrestler?
I don't watch like
Jordan Burroughs. Who do you think's the
Oh.
GOAT?
I never got into like the NCAA type of stuff, but I had a buddy in Colorado. His name's Dawson Collins,
Yeah.
and I always loved watching him. Like I went to like national,
Yeah.
like he was like famous.
I double legged him.
Nope, he's a stud. Like
What did he wrestle at?
like 120.
Oh my dude, I would double leg him.
But dude, he killed it. Like he was one of the best wrestlers I've ever been around.
Yeah.
Like dude was just an absolute god at it, you know. Like
Yeah.
And I trained with him. I hung out. He was like one of my best friends in Colorado.
Yeah.
He wants to come out here, but he can't drop wrestling for me yet.
Oh, he's still in wrestling.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
He went to college for it. He
Okay.
ended up. He went through some stuff. He had a full ride to UVU, so the University of Utah. So then when I moved to Utah, he was out there with me, And then he went through some stuff, and he ended up going back home. And now right now he's wrestling for the college in Colorado, in
Okay.
Grand Junction.
Okay. So, what's your favorite? You're more of a bow guy than a rifle guy. You said that, right?
For hunt, yes. I've never hunted with a rifle.
What's your favorite gun?
Like caliber?
Just in general, you have a gun don't you have a bunch of guns?
Oh yeah.
What's
But,
your favorite?
Like I have like a competition rifle. That'd be like it's not like a
So it's-
solid brand. Like
it's
you
like
could go
built.
buy it. Yeah, it's built.
Yeah.
It's a 6.5 Creedmoor.
So, what caliber does that shoot?
6.5 Creedmoor.
Okay. What the fuck's
Yeah,
a
you don't know
Creedmoor?
nothing
I have no
about it.
idea what a Creedmoor
It's
is.
just a caliber bullet.
It's not a caliber bullet.
Yeah.
6.5 makes sense. Creedmoor does not make sense.
6.5 Creedmoor is what it is, dog.
How big is a bullet?
I mean, I'd probably say like maybe about that big.
That ain't gonna do shit to nobody.
No, it will.
He's about that big.
It coming out here like it was just like a whole different change for me. Like
Yeah.
I've been around mountains. I've been around all that to where like now I have nothing. Like I don't have the mountains. What am I gonna go drive on the highways here?
Yeah.
Like I can't just go out in the hills and just
Scope out.
just shoot rabbits, prairie dogs, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's city now.
So, what do you look forward to next year as we wrap up?
I'd say I want to just keep growing because I want. It's not really what I want. I'm going to be the best.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of time and just grinding these last couple months of this year out
Yeah.
to prepare for next year because next year probably be my first full year in the industry.
Yes.
And
Got to make $1 million.
yes, it's
Yeah.
just going to be
Get the
basically
Lambo, make $1 million, do whatever it takes.
going exactly whatever
Yeah.
it takes to get there and just growing and every way. Like that's a huge thing to me out here as well, is like the mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
Even though you lack on it sometimes.
Right.
No,
It's my only job. I shouldn't miss it. It's the only thing I have to do every day.
No, I mean that's pretty huge for me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But other than that,
His favorite wrestler is himself.
other than that, I
Peter Reichert is on.
just want to be the best.
Man, I hope you know Peter, right?
Yeah.
We should try to replace his company and come up with our own media company.
Imagine.
And we'll hire this person to be our first person. Aiden. Let's come up with names. Half Caps Media.
You can't copy him.
No, his is all caps. Ours could be half caps.
I mean, if it's all caps, just
Lowercase media.
lowercase.
Lowercase media. Lord of the Rings media. That's one of his favorite movies, so we could just
Lord of the Rings
Schmeagol. Schmeagol media.
If I ever do come out with like the podcast and go like all out with that, I feel like I'd go with the name like the Gentleman's Club. Like how you got like Adversity Kings.
Shut this off. The Gentleman's Club.
I think it'd be sick.
That
dude.
would be sick. It's just raunchy enough to almost get you in trouble with.
See,
But at the same time, you can loop it back into it's just my boys on here.
yes. I mean,
so
you
yeah, it's definitely a good loophole.
it would
Yeah.
be, you know what I mean? Like it could be pretty crazy. It could be bad or it could be good.
Yeah, good. Well, we're about an hour in. Shout out anything you want to shout out. I would probably lean towards, where can people find you if they want to work with you?
I mean, really, my Instagram. That's the biggest place. My Instagram is just my first name, last name, Trea Fantin, TreaFantin with an underscore. It's where you'd find me. If you have any questions, you can DM me.
Cool.
Follow me, anything like that. But I'd say my biggest shout out would probably be the dogs out here that I have: Nate Fromm, Starley Falk, Nolan Rasmussen, just the ones that
Let's go.
began with it. You know what I mean? Justin,
Let's go.
my dogs.
Shout out you dogs. This was mediocre bow shooter, Trea Fantin, and then obviously me, pro bow. You know what I mean? Shout out Cam Haynes. Keep hammering. You know what I mean? What kind of bow should I get? I was looking them up the other day. They're around here.
Are you going to get one?
Yeah, I'm gonna get one. It's not. You don't need a void card to have a bow in Illinois, so I'm gonna go
Are
get
you
a
just
bow.
going to shoot like in the halls or?
No, there's places you can shoot around here, asshole.
I mean,
Starting with your chest.
yeah, you probably
Just wait until I'm able to shoot 3.
you could.
You think I should get a Hoyt?
That's what I have.
I wouldn't get one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get one since you have one.
Go with Elite. That's gonna be my next bow.
Elite.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get an Elite bow. All black,
They do have them. That's when I shot. That'll be my
laser
next bow.
scope,
You don't put a
flamethrower.
scope on them.
I'm gonna have a sniper scope on my fucking bow.
Yeah,
All right, dope. Well, this was another podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed.